You know what I mean? Someone like the Bee Gees or someone who's like older, more mature kind of singer. All right, today I'm checking out Ween. I'm listening to the song Freedom of 76. Let's get into it.
Okay, we're back, and our homemade media festival continues with a band called Ween that actually records on a portable 4-track system. This is Mickey Melchiondo and Aaron Freeman, both halves of Ween. They actually prefer to go by Dean and Gene Ween, and who am I to argue? Anyway, why do you guys use that relatively low-tech recording system as opposed to like going into a studio the way most bands do?
I think it started out because it was all we could afford, really. And when you're in the studio, you're recording on the clock, and an hour of studio time plus the cost of the engineer is really more than your average, whatever, 16-year-old kid can afford. So.
But you actually like the sound that you get that way, right?
Yeah, sure. Sounds great.
What do you prefer about it? Is it just you like sort of a more low-tech sound anyway, or?
No, I think when you only have 4 tracks to record on, you have to write better songs because you can't do much production with it. I mean.
Okay, but now you guys have a deal with Elektra, right?
Right.
You have a record out on Elektra. And is that something that you like actively pursued, or did it just sort of happen?
Do mine?
No, basically they just found us. They really liked our music and gave us a great deal.
Okay,
So.
but now that you're on Elektra, do you think that are you going to do your next album the same way, still the same way, or are you going to now like fly to the Bahamas and go in a big studio and do all that?
Now we're going to
stuff?
record the next album in Maui, 48-track studio. Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Now
Okay.
We want to get like Michael Bolton's backing band.
Good. Sounds good. Okay, so
30 tracks.
so that little machine we have right over there actually produces a sound that sounds about the same as it would on a finished album. So if you guys want to hear what we're talking about, they're going to do it for you now. Here's Ween doing Freedom of 76.
1993. Watching TV in 1993, that's kind of cool. I mean, it may not be cool to a lot of people, but in 1993, I was like 2 years old. So this is the kind of stuff people were watching back in the day when I was 2. If you think about this modern day, this would probably be more likely to be on a YouTube channel. You know, artists are always doing interviews on YouTube channels and things like that. And I guess, you know, they still do interviews with big media, you know, classic media, legacy media, whatever you call it. But so much stuff modern day happens without needing like a multi-million-dollar production studio. And like I could start interviewing artists one day. Like you never know what could happen, but it's just interesting. Back in the day, it all had to go through these massive media channels and stuff. Now people can be independent and still get publicity, get millions of views on YouTube. Everything's crazy. I love the way things are going, mostly.
Freedom of the body, freedom of the mind. The whole on South Street, hype for tricks. Little girls are picking up sticks. Freedom is 76. Wasting little reason. Wants cheap tricks. Liberty Bell cracked in hand. A bacon steak, a perfect match. Freedom is 76. My girl, Sasha,
would have never guessed. Like, if you just played me that song, especially the vocals, I would have never guessed it came out of like some young dude who looks like he's in the underground scene or something. I would have guessed it came out of, you know what I mean? Someone like the Bee Gees or someone who's like older, more mature kind of singer. I thought they were going to play something like punk or something, you know, skater music, something like that. It's crazy because it still felt very much like this should have been kind of underground music. I'm guessing this TV show is on, you know, big TV, mainstream media, Jane Pratt show. It's probably a big show. I guess this is like they're coming out. Because like even bands like Nirvana at one point were underground. Then they became huge. I don't know if it's around the same time period. But it just feels like I'm listening to something that should be underground. But it's probably like they were talking about the way they record their music, that little device they were playing on, all that gives it the low tech kind of underground feel. It's crazy this was on mainstream television. Did Ween go full mainstream eventually? Did they go full mainstream? Or did they stay kind of underground with a little bit of publicity and things like that? I haven't heard of that record label, Electrica or whatever they said. I don't know how big of a label it is, but it just feels so underground and so like, you know what I mean? Like kind of raw.
I don't know. Tell me, man, what do you know? What do you know? Me and my boys on the road. You to go. She told me, boy, you to go. Like I don't know, but I don't know.